Hello and welcome to the Boys in the Bus podcast. This is your bus home from Dens Park, where Celtic defeated Dundee by 2-1. I'm your host, Terry. I'm joined by Phil. Phil, another nice, comfortable, easy victory. Celtic march on, surge on in this title race. How are you feeling?
A lot better than what I did 2 weeks ago. Our last visit to Dundee, we finally broke the curse because it was getting ridiculous. We couldn't go up there and take any points. This is what it's come to now. It's even at the point where a victory like that, we scraped it against Dundee, and I've already cracked open the celebratory ciders. Usually I don't drink on screen, but today I'm like, you know what? It was worth it. After sitting through watching that for 90 minutes, it's like I crack open the drinks because it was a hard watch again, but I keep saying it on Friday nights when I'm on with Liam. Any wins we get from the end of the season, that is the blueprint of what we're going to see. That they're just going to scrape it. I would love us to go out and beat teams 3-0, 4-0. And of course, we will talk about the instance of the game. We could have won by about 3 or 4-0 today, no problem. But once again, victims of our own downfall and make it hard for ourselves. But we got there in the end. And I'd say at this stage of the season, that's all you can ask now.
Thanks to everyone who's joined so far. Numbers creeping up towards 100. Give us a like, give us a share, hit that notification bell, all that jazz. Try and get us out there. How many subscribers are we on, Phil?
1,750 something the last time.
Heading towards 2,000. Phil, I'm much the same as you. I thought 2 weeks ago, I just thought, you know what? I'm glad of this international break. And then about a few days into it, I'm going, I want to see Celtic again, even as bad as we have been this season. I just, you want to watch your team, and then about an hour into today's game, I'm thinking, this is why I didn't want to. This is why I didn't want to watch them, because it's tough. It's really, really tough. I was thinking of parts of that game today. You know, I made excuses for the players at Tannadice, and I just can't keep making excuses for them. They're just not very good. In terms of today's game, now I thought the first half, I thought we were quite comfortable. I mean, the camera angle never makes for great viewing at some of these grounds, including Dens Park. But I thought we were comfortable in the first half. I thought we created enough chances to go in 3-0. 3-0 wouldn't have been an unfair scoreline, and if we had a striker at any stage this season, we'd be 15, 20 points clear if we had somebody who knew how to put the ball in the net. Unfortunately, we don't. We'll go through those. I thought we really controlled that first half, created the chances. But again, at halftime, I'm sitting thinking, you know, we've never had two halves of football this season that are the same. There's no way we're going to come out and control the second half as much as we did. There's no way we're going to create the same kind of gilt-edged chances that we passed up. Turns out we probably did create. We just didn't take them again, other than the main one from Iheanacho. But stressful, just so stressful. And I was saying in the group chat last night, 7 wins, we just have to keep ticking them off. That's the first one over the line. However we got there. Phil, let's take a look at the lineup. Sinisalo, Colby Donovan, we weren't sure if he was going to be fit or not. Turns out that he was. Trusty Scales in the middle. Again, I know your thoughts on Scales' performance today. I feel quite the same about Trusty. I think Trusty was fortunate to get back in again. Tierney played at left back. Is there a conversation where Srirachi just has to start? I just don't remember a performance where Srirachi hasn't looked really good. That's one we can pick up on. Oxlade-Chamberlain and McGregor playing. So Oxlade-Chamberlain's maybe the one that you're maybe surprised about there. Hatate didn't get any game time today at all. Yang on the right, Wide on the left, and Svenchara through the middle. My eyesight doesn't let me see the subs there, but I'm assuming
Duhan, McCown, Iheanacho, Srirachi, Hatate, Arthur, Forrest, Ralston.
Aye. So you're thinking about the ones that are missing then. So there was no Taneki.
No, there was Taneki. Is there?
Oh, was Taneki there? Taneki was there, right? He didn't come on.
Right.
Obviously, the two deadline day signings. No, neither of them makes it onto the bench. No Bernardo. Anyway, what were your thoughts lineup wise? Any surprises in there for you?
Donovan was a surprise because I thought he was going to miss the game. He obviously went off at Tannadice, having clattered into an ad board and then pulled out of the Scotland under-21 squad over the national break. So I thought, Donovan won't make it. Said to Liam on Friday, I fully expected it to be Ralston playing. So yeah, I was surprised to see Donovan. And then Oxley Chamberlain, I thought he actually had a good game. I know it might be seen as a surprise. Hatate not getting any minutes is more sort of surprise, not even coming on. But because Hatate he's picked up in recent weeks. Before the international break, he was one of our better performers and a really subpar Celtic team. He was actually doing all right. But the rest of it, nothing really surprised me there. With the striker position, again, it's a big tombola. Just spin it round and draw a name, see who gets the jersey this week. Natural obviously went on to score at some point. So will he start the next one? So we'll get and talk about that. But in terms of the team, nothing majorly surprising there at all.
Phil, we started okay. There was a ball that Dyson Maida fired across the goal. Yang just wasn't able to get on the end of it. But a couple of minutes later, we're 1-0 up. Good combination played down the left between Svanchara and Maida. The ball goes back to Tierney. He crosses it. Svanchara turns like a boss, and he's got a score. He's got a score from there, and it's a poor effort from a poor finisher. Let's be blatant about it. Keeper saves it, drops to Yang, who then has the presence of mind to clip it over the goalkeeper, but there's not enough on it for it to go into the net. And then we have quite comical situation where we know the ball's in the net. We don't know who scored it. And I've watched it. I've seen it about a dozen times, and it's very, very difficult to say who got it. I think that they've given it to Yang.
Give it to Yang in the end, yeah.
Yeah. So did Reegan get any touch on it, or has he kicked it off Yang, or is it Yang's got the touch?
I think Reegan did get a wee touch on it, and in the end it went off of Yang's foot into the net, but it was inches away from being a disaster.
Would Yang not have been offside? If Reegan touches it onto Yang, the goalkeeper's out.
I was panic-stricken about that as soon as when I said that. My dad went, there's a good chance this is going to go offside, because once you're behind the goalkeeper and the ball's played forward in any way, you're going to be offside. And it's like, it looked to me like he didn't need to touch that. And of course, when they analysed it with the VAR replay and they put the still up, they were looking initially when the ball came in from the left-hand side. So I was like, okay, right, that seems all fine, but that seemed to be what they were homing in on. But when the scramble in front of the goal, I was panicking that there was going to be an offside given, because maybe he didn't need to touch it on the way in. So yeah, I was worried where this was going in the end. Thankfully, nothing came of it, and we did get the goal. But to me, it felt like it was inches away from being a disaster situation there, where we get the goal chopped off for a stupid offside that didn't have to be. But luckily, it was all fine, all above board according to VAR, and we took the lead. And you're right, we started quite brightly. So again, you're like, okay, this is more like it. We've got a wee bit of urgency about us. Maybe the result early in the day with what happened with Hearts drawn with Livy. It's like, right, okay, maybe we've got a wee bit of impetus about us, and we were more than good value for the lead at that point in time.
You mentioned Oxley Chamberlain then, Phil. I thought he had a good first half. He faded very early in the second half, but I thought he played well in the first half. There was a surgeon run from him through the middle. He then played Reegan in.
He did so well on that. The guy was probably pulling his shirt and everything, and he was just he was as strong as an ox essentially. But he did hold him off really well.
And Reegan's cross then just evades Maida at the back post. I mean, if that goes in at that point, you're 2-0 up in 20 minutes, and the afternoon, it probably plays out a lot different than what it actually did. Maida gets another chance. He's in on goal, but hits it straight at the goalkeeper. He's stretching. And then we had the Svanchara one. So Maida does really well. He wins the ball back. Svanchara is clean through on goal. His touch is absolutely terrible, albeit he still has plenty of control over it, and it gives him an opportunity to go round the goalkeeper or dink the goalkeeper. He's gone for the dink, and he's hit the post, and the ball's come back out again. Awful, absolutely awful miss.
just sums it up really. See, he had enough time there to try and take it with him, maybe make it a bit easier for him. But when you hit the post, when you hit the goal frame, what can you do? He's chipped it over him. I think he's done well up to that point, but yeah, it just happened to hit the post. But there was options there, and maybe that's one of these things where sometimes a striker, when you give him too much time to think on the ball, they sometimes make the wrong choice because you say there was enough time there to maybe go around him. But he's funny enough, I don't think that's the worst miss of the day from Vanchara, which but also when we get to the second half, we could talk about that. But yeah, see with that one, it's an annoying one, and yeah, you can say it's a bad miss, but it has a post, and it's like, well, what can you do? It's just one of these things. The goal frame doesn't move, so yeah, it just happens to clip it. And again, going in at half time or and the way that first half was playing out, you're getting an ominous feeling. I know Wilfred Nancy's long gone now and he can't hurt us anymore, but the lingering feeling of the small Wilfred Nancy era is still there. But you have a good first half. You go in at the break, you're only a goal up for your troubles, and second half you can come out and it can completely flip-flop. So there was that feeling with the way that first half was playing out, like if we don't get a second goal soon, this could be a horrible day. Just similar to what happened to us across the road at Tannadice back in December. 1-0 up at the break, more than enough chances, and then funny enough, Condor's finding up the name. Simon Murray again. He's a nuisance whenever we play them. He's a guy that's got a real habit of spooking our defenders, and he did it again today. And but yeah, this he actually knows where the net is. It seems, unlike Vanchara, who he had an absolute shocker today.
And the thing is, Phil, I really, really want the guy to do well. I think he's a genuine trier, but he's a centre forward, and we needed a centre forward to come in and score goals.
I don't know if you caught any of the post-match stuff on Sky's broadcast. Did you see any of that?
Yeah.
Did you hear them talking about Vanchara and not being his quote-unquote natural position? And even to his credit, right, and no one can't stand Chris Boyd, he's like, he's a striker. And Jason McFadden was saying the same thing. Like, yeah, he's a striker, but there's this whole thing about certain roles and players that can play out wide. And I'm like, if Vanchara is not a natural striker, then what is he and why is he playing up front for us then? Is the only striker? Again, it goes back to this whole, shouldn't he have somebody else up there alongside him to try and win knockouts? But if people are trying to peddle this line now that this isn't his natural position, what the hell's he doing playing there then? So I say even Chris Boyd was calling that out, and I was like, I can't disagree with Boyd. Usually I would be quite happy to disagree with him, but I went, you know what? What is that as an excuse? It's like if he's not a natural striker, then what the hell is he? And why is he playing as a number 9 for us effectively?
Phil, even if that's your centre back in that position, you expect him to score. Gavi Boy, that's a good comparison for anyone of a vintage that remembers Tony Cascarino. That's exactly who he's like. We're going to need this big man we're going to need a few goals from him, Phil, in the next 6 games. Ian Atchell's. He's not going to be able to play. Probably not even going to be able to play a half. Let's be honest about it. Whenever he started games, he's done after 20, 25 minutes. So I don't think he can be the starter because you're not going to get enough out of him. So I expect to see Vanchara playing. He'll still play quite a part in these last 6 league games, and from somewhere he needs to take fire. You just need it. He needs a goal. If ever a striker needed a goal, and I mean, here's the question: has he been any better than Johnny Kenny?
The numbers
would you just been better keeping Johnny Kenny? What was the point?
I don't know. They say the numbers say that ridiculously. Johnny Kenny's still the top scoring centre forward for us this season with 6 goals, and he's not played for us since January. That's like how abysmal anyone that plays through the middle for us has been. No matter what we do, big Tombola analogy again, just keep rotating it, and then somebody gets a shot. It's the same with our wingers as well. We've done that as well. Somebody has a half-decent game and they keep their place for a few games and then they drop off and they get replaced by somebody else. But it's the same with the striker situation. And there was an alarming stat a few weeks ago I saw about this time last year, around about March, April time, our goal difference was like plus 60 at that stage. It's now plus 20 something at this stage. And again, it goes without saying that has been the biggest problem. The final third for Celtic from the start of the season right to now, we've just lacked a spark out wide, creating chances, and then the person in the middle to finish chances. It's just been an absolute mess in the final third. And I just felt no matter who we play through the middle, I mean, Johnny Kenny, he had that game at Tannadice, and I think people just after that were like, nah, never again, because he missed, what was it, 4 like one-on-one chances in the first half alone that night. But yeah, it's just been an absolute mess, and it just shows you again in the January window. It was just a case of throw something at a wall and see if it sticks, because Adamu coming in, he doesn't look like the answer. Chara, as we say, doesn't look like the answer. Maeda, when he's played through the middle, has not looked on it at all this season. So it's like nothing we do works, and this is what we're stuck with now at the end of the season. Now, Callum Osman's name just came up there in the chat. If he comes back from injury in time for the end of the season, but he's going to be months like behind in terms of fitness. How quickly can we expect him to get up to speed? He looked like he had something to his game in the short time we got to see him. But of course, as has been the case this season, Terry, another injury, another player with a hamstring injury has kept him out. So with 6 league games to go and potentially 2 cup games, it's like how... I think Osman looks like he does have a bright future, but at this stage, can we really be throwing in a 19-year-old and hoping that that's the answer that will get us over the line at the end of the season? It's that's where we find ourselves right now.
Let's be honest, we don't really know an awful lot about Callum Osman. He's living off that moment where he gets the 3rd goal against Rangers in the cup, and as you say, he looked as if bit of pace and a wee bit of attitude. Fair to say, he looked as if he got a wee bit of attitude, which isn't a bad thing for a centre forward. But the combination that we've got at the minute, Phil, is not a good one, where we can't score goals and we can't stop conceding goals. You're talking about a stat there. So we're on our worst run of conceding goals, as in no clean sheet, for 8 matches now. And if you remember quite a lot of these post-match discussions we had when Martin was here earlier in the season, and it was we'd only conceded a couple of goals through his reign, and they were penalties.
That's
and right. in this run, it's quite alarming when he's back again, because I thought that would be the first thing that you would see a difference in. And yeah, fair enough, we're not conceding 2 and 3 and 4. We're not conceding just at the same rate as we were under Wilfred Nancy, but it is alarming that O'Neill hasn't been able to shut that back door the same way as he did first time round. And when you're not scoring enough goals, if you're conceding every single game, it makes every game an uphill challenge for you.
A hangover from Wilfred Nancy, PTSD with the defenders now. They're forever scarred mentally after that 1 month reign in December. Because, yeah, you're right. I remember doing post-matches, and there was like this, that we began to believe the way things were going under O'Neill in that first tenure after a pretty mediocre start under Brendan. We were getting wins. Some of them were quite convincing. Other ones we grinded out, but we weren't conceding goals. We get clean sheets against like Falkirk, Kelly, Dundee. But yeah, the only goals we conceded were penalties. But there was something in the air where you're like, right, we're not conceding, so that's half the battle. So like we're finding a way, and then of course it all just went the total opposite, and it now feels like there's no stability at the back. There's an inevitability with Celtic at the moment, and in these games where we're probably going to concede some kind of ridiculous soft goal. And it was the same again today, just calamity at the back when it was coming. There was like a spell there where it was just building and building. And that, because early on in the second half, as I said earlier on, Chara's worst miss of the day was actually early in the second half. Now, This is how I think it played. And I think this has been a problem with Celtic all season. I feel too many of our players don't play to the whistle. And I think in his mind, he's thought, I must be offside. But put the ball in the net, or try and put the ball in the net, because VAR will check it. But to me, it was like there was no confidence there. And it just, because it was so easy, the way the ball just slotted into him by Reegan. And he just found himself in acres of space, and he just takes a really clumsy touch. And there's still a wee bit of time there for him to maybe get a shot away, but he just has no confidence. And it's almost like he's waiting for a whistle or a flag or something like that. Like he just doesn't seem convinced at all. And it's like, but you've got to still try and put it away, because the VAR would have found nothing wrong with it anyway. And yeah, that goes in 2-0 up early in the second half. That's fine. And then, as I said there, with Dundee's equaliser was coming, it all came off the back of they had this spell where they just upped the ante, essentially, when Liam Scales got caught dwelling on the ball. Simon Murray dispossessed him, and they were claiming a pass back, but I think the referee had said that Simon Murray had knocked it back to the goalie. But from the 5 minutes after that, like, our backline were completely and utterly rattled, and it was just like they were throwing balls into the box. We were struggling to clear it. It kept coming back. And yeah, at the end of all that, they end up getting a penalty.
If Svanchara scores the one in the first half, or any of the ones that he got in the first half, I back him to score that one in the second half. I think if he's got a goal under his belt and the confidence, he smashes that. He had another chance, Phil, just before half time, and it was like a back pass. And Colby Donovan had a chance that wasn't too far away. Well, it wasn't. It was only a half chance. He hit a shot from about 25 yards. It wasn't a million miles away. There was one appeal for a penalty, which Benjamin Negron was screaming for, and it was quite an odd one because the Dundee player had his hands behind his back, but then what he did was he turned his back towards the ball. So is there any argument there that he intentionally handed the ball because he put?
Well, we did see a few years ago, Bernabei did get a penalty against him on Dundee United where the ball came in for a cross and he had his hands behind his back and the Dundee United player had a shot, and as he turned, his hands were still behind his back and it hit his arm, and that was given as a penalty. You know, consistency and all that, even though it was a few years ago, but still, it was still in the VAR day and age. So, yeah, I suppose there is a case for that, what you're saying.
Never a penalty, but I would obviously have taken it. Right. Yeah, you said Dundee started brightly in the second half, playing down the hill, playing with the wind, and I remember just sitting talking to myself really, but I was starting to just think I've got a bad feeling about this. I just have in my gut. We've not started here at all in the second half, and it was no surprise to me when Dundee got that penalty. Ball's just pinball in our box, breaks for the guy, hits a shot, and the only surprise for me is I don't know how Stephen McLean
hasn't given it in real time.
How is he not able to give that on field? Because it's just so obvious, it's so clear, and you just knew this is going to VAR, and we don't even have to. It's not even a question. It's an absolute stonewaller penalty.
In real time, you can see his arm comes out like that, hits him. It's going on target, probably going in the net anyway, because the guy hit it with a bit of ferocity from 7-8 yards out. It's probably hitting the back of the net. But yeah, you can see it right away. If it happens at the other end for us, we're screaming for it. So right away, I knew this is going to be a penalty. The fact that he even go to the screen and look at it closer, surely the guys on the truck can say has hit his arm, but I guess it's part of the protocol. He still has to go and have a look just in case. But nah, there's no way around it, and it's penalty. But with Sinisalo in goal, similar to a few weeks ago, obviously we had the cup game, and my fear of Celtic and taking penalties, but of a penalty shootout, I felt, do you know what? I'm quite confident with Sinisalo being in goal. So it was one of these cases of, right, it's a penalty to Dundee. Let's see if Sinisalo's got it. But Simon Murray mugged him right off of that one. He just passed it into the net, no problem. Sent him the wrong way. Didn't even put any power on it. Just rolled it pretty much into the far corner. And I say that 5-minute spell there, Dundee were on the ascendancy. And you're just getting that ominous feeling because you don't know how Celtic are going to cope after the restart. Are they going to just get their heads together and pick it up again? Or are we going to see another half an hour here of us just being absolutely rattled and can't string two passes together? And sadly, it was more of the latter, but in the end, we did find a way. But yeah, there's that sickening feeling with the way things have gone this season. Once we do concede an equaliser, is it going to be the old snowball effect, Terry?
It was a good finish from Murray, given that there was almost 5 minutes, which is ridiculous from when the incident happened to when he came to take it. There was just no need for that. It was just so obvious and blatant. But he puts it away. Phil, over the last 4 or 5 weeks of the season, there seems to be a lot of decisions that are having to be made in the VAR room because the on-field officials aren't seeing them, or I think they're afraid because of how tight things are. I think they're afraid to make the decision, and they're using VAR as a safety net, which is not the way it's intended to be. There's a lot of these. John Beaton's had quite a few. Looking at that one today, there's absolutely no way Stephen McLean should be missing that. Seen one earlier, the red card in the Hearts game. Again, Kevin Clancy's he's not gave that on field. He's had to get called over again. Do you think the referees are getting caught up in the pressure a little bit, and they've no confidence anymore in themselves, and they're kind of just using VAR, as I said, as a safety net? I'll not make the call in case I get it wrong, and the guys will keep me right.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily the pressure of the title race around them, because this has been going on since VR. If you notice, since VR came in, I think they're just getting lazy, and I think it's a thing across. Well, in England you get it as well. I think foreign refs, like European continental refs, seem to be a bit better at making decisions. But yeah, I think referees are getting a bit lazy and are just like, somebody else will do it for me, and it's like, well, what's the point? We're going to get to the stage where we don't need linesmen anymore because VAR will check out, because I hate that rule about the ball goes through. Is it a 50-50 offside, onside, or let the play finish and then put your flag up? As it's been pointed out, players can get injured via that, and that happened to Kasper Schmeichel. But I hate that rule. That's been a thing since 2021 when UEFA brought it in, where linesmen are now encouraged, just let the play continue. And I think it's just bled into the referees, but it's just like, let go. Because if Stephen McLean gives that in real time, right, and it turns out it's not a penalty, fine, VAR will come in and say it wasn't a penalty. And yeah, because up at Dens Park earlier this season, we lost 2-0. And there was a moment in the second half where somebody blasted a ball at a Dundee player from just outside the box, and he stuck his hands up like that. And in real time, it looked like it hit his hands, remember? And it actually hit him in the face. But the referee gave a penalty in real time in that game and was told to reverse the decision because it turned out it hit his face. So they've done it before. Where an instant, literally at the same end, at the same ground, in the same fixture. But yeah, this time it's like, so yeah, again, I just think referees are just getting lazy and just wait for VAR to tell them the right decision. But it just wastes time.
The irony there was that was Matthew McDermott gave that one, and he was the VAR today.
McDermott, do you also remember? I know this is a small detail and it's all gone now, all water under the bridge. But obviously that was not given as a penalty. But the ball still hit a Dundee player and went out over the byline. But they restarted the game with a goal kick for Dundee, so it shouldn't have been a corner for us. I know it's a small detail and it was a game in October, but just wee things like that where I'm like, right, okay, we've established it's not a penalty, fine. But then surely the rule is, well, it must be a corner now for Celtic. So these are the wee inconsistencies that they just get wrong all the time. And yeah, I just think when it comes to that, I don't think it's the pressure of the title race that's putting them off making decisions. I just think they're being lazy.
We then went through, Phil, the kind of period that we've become accustomed to where Martin O'Neill starts to make substitutions, and he brings on Iheanacho for Svenchara. But there's not an awful lot happening in the game. And then he makes another couple of changes, brings on Ralston and McKeown for Donovan and Oxlade. And then quite soon after that, makes another 2 subs. And it's almost like what's going through his head that the substitutions, they felt a little bit strange, some of them, especially when you've got if Taneki was on the bench and Hitate's on the bench. And we're creating absolutely nothing. Let's be honest. In the second half, there was a Yang header, but it wasn't even a chance. It ended up forced the keeper into a save, but it wasn't a dangerous chance. And it just felt like the second half was really stop-start. Loads of substitutions, loads of break up and play, and not an awful lot happening. And it just felt this game's getting away from us, and we're not getting an opportunity, or we're not taking the opportunity to create anything of any real note. And by the time the main moment in the game comes, we've made all 5 subs, because Sirachi's on for Tierney, Forrest's on for Maeda, and the goal kind of came from nowhere, because, like I say, we weren't creating an awful lot at all. And Dundee were well in it after they equalised, and it was pretty much a toss of a coin game at that stage. And then Sirachi crosses the ball in. Iheanacho shows good strength and a good touch. And then the one part that we've probably never doubted is his ability to finish. And he doesn't even lift his head. He knows where the goals are. He knows they ain't going to move. And it's a good goal. And one of those moments again where, I mean, I thought he looked a bit clumsy at times, and I kind of felt we were just banging the ball up to him the same way as we were banging it up to Svenchara, and that's not his game. But excellent moment for him.
Oh, it certainly was. But just quickly on the point about the subs, the reason why you feel that way about it, is it feels like a sub for the sake of a sub. There's no change in the actual shape of the team. See, if we were bringing subs on, maybe moving some players about, just take one piece out and plug another one in that plays that position.
Ralston for Donovan, for example. Ralston for Donovan doesn't.
McCown comes on for Oxlade-Chamberlain. I mean,
yeah.
Regardless of, like, Oxlade-Chamberlain's obviously his fitness, so that's fair enough. I understand him going off. I know Tatis had a really erratic season at times, but right now I'd be having him on ahead of Luke McCown. Luke McCown is just not it at all. So again, some of the subs are a bit bizarre, and yeah, it does feel like a change for the sake of it. Tierney for Sriracha, we'll obviously talk about that. But no, the left back for the left back. Is there a place for the two of them to play if we change the shape, where maybe one can be a bit further forward? But anyway, Sriracha does come on, and yeah, he's well involved in the goal. Nice cross, but the finish is great because, as you say, he doesn't look up. So he could easily just swing at that and it'd just be like, just go way past the post. The fact that he had the awareness there, because he isn't like in line with the goal. He's a little bit in front of the goal and he's got to turn and hit it more towards the near post. And again, the goalie's standing at the near post as well. And it's beaten because it's moved that quickly and he's found that little gap between the goalkeeper and the near post. Because when he hit it initially, I was like, when he turns to hit it, I was like, shooting there for, but he finds it no problem. It's a good finish. And then, of course, there is the mandatory VAR check. Now, at first, they were looking for an offside, which the angle they kept showing is like, what? You can't tell. Yeah. And Chris Sutton sort of chuckled and went, maybe his boot's offside, but even able to see. I thought what they were actually looking for was, did he push the defender over? Because see, when I see a defender go down in a moment like that, I'm like, they're going to pull this back for a foul because he shoved them or something, didn't he? But no, it was just good upper body strength. As Chris Sutton said on commentary, the defender's got to do better there. He does. He just gives him a wee nudge, and that's it. Just makes a space for himself. And yeah, great control, composure. Doesn't look up, and it's a cool finish. Just turns and hits it. But yeah, VAR had to go and kill the buzz for a few minutes there and keep us sweating.
Ian Crocker was trying to make up an offside. I actually made a note. I just goes, what's he trying to talk up an offside for that just blatantly doesn't exist? It was not even close at all. And I seen a VAR decision yesterday. Seen a VAR decision yesterday that took about 2-3 minutes to try and make a Dundee United goal offside when it was blatantly onside as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, then there was one more sort of key moment, Phil, because again, Celtic this season, you think it should be done at that stage, but we know only too well. We know only too well. There's a few hurdles and a lot of stress to go through, and you kind of felt much of that was taken away then whenever Dundee got reduced to 10 men. So it's a long ball forward from Sinsalo, and Ian Atcher, to be fair to him, he actually gets the flick on. Yep. He gets a flick on, and Yang's then getting the run through the middle, and we've seen it against Motherwell. It seems to be something that he's brought into his game a little bit more, popping up in central positions, and he latches onto it, and the guy takes him down. Now, there's a lot of distance between Yang and the net, but I thought straight away that's a red.
Well, given what we've seen already this season, and funny enough, Big Boy Day was yapping about that after the game, because remember how adamant he was back in January when we drew with Hearts and Trusty gets sent off. Definite red. But today he's like, whatever the decision the referee makes on the park will be the right decision on that. He wasn't so committed this time on it. It's a red. It is. I mean, he is in on goal. There's no defender recovering there. And yeah, he's through. Now, whether Yang would have scored on our story, but that's here nor there. But yeah, fair enough. It's a red card. Also, shout out to Chris Sutton with the absolute best line of commentary ever, because the boy wouldn't go off. He was obviously arguing his point. And also, his second name is Astley. In fact, his first initial is R. And Chris Sutton said, yeah, he was never going to give that one up, was he? And I was like, fantastic, Chris. Love that. I love a wee 80s reference there. Absolutely fantastic stuff. But I see the free kick that we hit. Jesus Christ. See, when you see the replay from behind the goal, Negrin, that was a nice reset piece move. It made a nice change to see us actually have a wee routine. He's so unlucky not to score that from that distance as well. It's like inches at benches past the post. That would have been an absolute screamer of a goal. But yeah, obviously they're down to 10 men. We're heading into stoppage time. And you're right. You're right to be nervous, because this is game management time. Whereas, like, right, we've got obviously a really poor Celtic team. The title hopes are hanging by the balance here. It's been a sticky game, but we've got to sell in the lead. Don't do anything stupid now. And even Chris Sutton on commentary said that. They keep giving the ball back to Dundee. It was like a hot potato. It was like for the first, like, because it was 7 minutes stoppage time got added. It was like from the 90th minute to about the 94th minute, it was like Celtic just kept on passing the ball right back to Dundee. It was only after that we started to get a more, right, just hold on to it, just pass it sideways and try and just shield the ball and just waste time. But yeah, for the first few minutes of that stoppage time, yeah, you'd be right to be nervous, Terry, because we were doing everything in our power to just keep giving the ball back to Dundee.
Phil, is it still funny if Jerry McCullough used that line, because he did in the when we played them earlier in the season at home?
Did he? I've heard something.
He did.
I'll give Jerry McCullough that. I'll give Jerry that one. I do like a wee 1980 reference. I do enjoy a good Rick Astley reference as well, because but yeah, it had to be done. But yeah, it was a nervy finish to the. It shouldn't be. It really shouldn't be. We shouldn't be in a position where we're worried about stuff like that up against 10 men. A team like Dundee, we should be like comfortable at that stage. But you've got every right to be scared at that point. When they get that free kick and the goalkeeper came up for it, and it's like, here we go. Because they scored one 2 weeks ago in the Dundee derby, didn't they, from a similar angle? They just flighted it in, and that was an own goal that was scored in the end. But you just don't know. Something like that could happen again. So it was a nervy finish to the game.
Yeah, even in that stoppage time when they're down to 10 men, as Hugh Jameson says there, some of the tippy tappy stuff in and around our
Liam Scales,
Liam
Scales. I felt he was spooked from the side, and then every time he was getting on the ball, it felt like everything he did for the rest of the game was just erratic. Gave the ball away, dwelled too long on the ball. I felt like there was a case to get him subbed off because he was on a booking as well. So when he was getting on the ball near the end of the game as well, it's like proper heart in the mouth stuff. Like, just don't give him the ball, because he was completely rattled. It was like, I know you said earlier on about Trusty. You felt Trusty had a shaky game today. A year ago when we played Dundee up at Dens and we drew 3 each, that was the night when Brendan Rodgers did the infamous weak as piss moment where somebody did the lip reading, where we drew 3 each. And we were pretty comfortable in that game. We were controlling the game. And then it was all it took was Simon Murray to start roughing up Trusty. And they started to get a wee bit of pressure. And for the rest of that game, Trusty just didn't want to know. And I felt that today with Scales, where I was like, after that moment you get caught dwelling on the ball, it was like every time you gave him the ball, he was just making the wrong choice every time. And it was like, just, we're going to lose another goal because of him here, so keep it away from him. So I was getting similar vibes to that.
Yeah, Trusty actually wasn't too bad, Phil, and there was a sort of flurry of Dundee balls into our box, and he was the guy clearing. He was the guy clearing virtually all of them and doing that thing. You know, when you're defending your penalty box, he actually looks not too bad. I just think he's let us down so bad this season with those 2 red cards. You know, what could have been if he hadn't had those 2 red cards. We top of the league. Have we ended up?
Just Gabby Boy mentioned this. Yang's header, the looping header. That's true. Actually, that was quite because he isn't exactly renowned for his heading ability, and he's definitely trying to head it back across the goal. But he actually nearly ended up scoring a goal accidentally. He nearly caught the keeper out there. That would have been a hell of a goal if that had nipped into the net.
So we got the points, Phil. In terms of how this weekend has played out, it's pretty much played out exactly as I thought it would. I was reasonably confident that Hearts wouldn't get a win at Livingston. I'd said those 2 fixtures, Livy away and Kilmarnock away, I thought they would be tough games for them, and it's turned out to be the case. That they've got 1 point from 6 there. I didn't think there was any way at all that Rangers wouldn't win. Everything was set up for Rangers yesterday. They're getting to play first. They're at home. John Beaton's referee, Greg Aikens on VAR, everything's there for them, and they get the job done, albeit they were an inch away from 4-2 being 3-3 because Dundee United hit the post and Rangers went up and scored from the resultant play. But anyway, I thought they would get the job done. I thought Hearts would drop points, and then you're just praying that we get the job done. But what does that do for us? So we're 2 points closer to Hearts, where we were in terms of Rangers.
The top 3 separated by 3 points.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah. For me, that was Rangers' easiest game that they'll play now the rest of the season. On paper, that home game against Dundee United. They go to Falkirk next week. Falkirk went to Motherwell and had a really impressive victory yesterday. Now, Motherwell's form seems to have completely dropped away over the last... Yeah, well, since that day that Celtic beat them at Celtic Park, they weren't able to beat Hibs at home, and they were pretty well beaten yesterday because I watched bits of that game. So maybe Motherwell going to Tynecastle next week, it maybe isn't as difficult a game as it would have been, say a month ago, but Hearts, it'll still be a challenge, and Hearts of that game, we get the chance to play ahead of Rangers next weekend. So Celtic home to St Mirren's, just absolutely there's just no way we can contemplate anything other than winning that match. And like I said, I think we have to win the last 6. If I'm being perfectly honest, we win next week, Phil, and if we don't deserve to win the league.
No, you're right. It's a case of we've got to win every game. It's very similar to Strachan's third season where we had 7 games to go, had to win 7. I said to Liam the other week, I was really worried about Callum McGregor coming out and making comments like we only need to win 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if he was trying to be careful because he doesn't want to be misquoted in the press. And no, McGregor claims Celtic are going to win all 7. No, if he just comes out and tells the fans that we're aiming to win all 7 because we know that's the only chance we've got, fine. That's absolutely fine. We want to hear that. But when he came out and said, we can maybe win 5 or 6, it's like, no, go and win all 7, and then you've done your bit, and then it's up to the rest. Because as it stands right now, all 3 teams have got their own destiny in their hands. Celtic's is a little bit different because our goal difference is still quite poor compared to we're 6 goals behind Hearts. If Celtic were to win all the remaining games, but Hearts win 5 out of their remaining 6 and lose to us, then we'd be on the same points as Hearts at the end of the season, but their goal difference might swing.
We're not going to win on goal difference. We're not going to win goal difference
now. So we're looking for Hearts to draw with somebody. We have to win all our games, and we need Hearts to draw or lose to somebody. If we win all 6, we don't need to worry about Rangers then, because we'll have beaten them, we'll have gone ahead of them because we're 2 points behind them. So you win all 6, which include the win over Rangers, you're a point ahead, so they're not a factor. As Hearts, we need them to drop points. They still have to play us, they need to play Rangers, they need to play Hibs at Easter Road. I keep going back to that one. That is the one that's going to be crucial because Hibs have already beaten them this season. And you know that if there's one nightmare scenario for a high B, it is the thought of Hearts winning the league. So you know that they're going to give it their all in that game. But yeah, we can only do our bit now, and it's 6 games, 6 cup finals essentially. We have to just go and make sure we win it by, if it's ugly like it was today, if it's 3 points at the end of it, so be it. But the key is this: if we do this, Terry, if we pull this off, the board cannot sit back and go, what were you all worried about? It's all absolutely fine. See, told you it would all work. It's like this, we can't allow that. This cannot become the norm every season, because next season, I say if Celtic do win it, next season Rangers will invest again because they've obviously had their takeover. Hearts have obviously became a force now, so Celtic need to be better than Hearts and Rangers. Hearts will, if they don't win anything this season, will still look at it and go, we're on the right track. It'll only take a few more clever investments again. So they'll come back and be better. So there's no way that if Celtic do come away and win a double this season, which would be an incredible from our point of view, the board can't just go, see, everything's fine, no problem, nothing to worry about. There has to be massive change because, yeah, this cannot be the norm, Terry. It cannot.
Totally agree with you. And whoever wins this title, be it us or be it one of the other two, I think they'll be the worst champions that I've seen in my lifetime. I genuinely do. I can't think of a worse team that's won the league. That I just can't think of. You know, even if it's us. And do you know what, Phil? See if it is, it'll probably be one of the absolute sweetest if we manage to get it done. But
I know.
Under absolutely no illusions, we would be the worst champions that I've seen. Absolutely.
Definitely.
The amount of games that we've lost, the horrible play.
With the amount of games we have lost, there's no reason we should still be in this. How are we still
because
in it?
The other two are bad. Because the other two are bad as well.
All three are terrible. Like they've got their massive flaws, and yeah, it's going to go right to the wire. Sadly, I'd love for us for they two to have a collapse now and us to go on a wee run, so we end up winning it with a couple of weeks to go. But it's not. It's going to go all the way to the last game of the season. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be ugly to watch. But see, right now, it's in the hands of all 3 of them. All 3 teams know that if they go and win the remaining 6 games, then they're going to do it. But yeah, it's sadly not that easy, because I think today was another one of those weekends or another one of those rounds of fixtures where all 3 teams haven't won. I think the last time that happened was September, where Hearts, Rangers and Celtic in the same round of fixtures actually won. And it's like, that just shows you how much it's chopping and changing. It's mental. Like, you haven't got many weekends where, on midweek fixtures as well, where all three teams have came away with maximum points. It's just been that erratic this season. And sadly, that's going to continue. We just need to make sure we're not the ones dropping the points every week now.
On paper, next week's game is our easiest game of the rest of our fixtures. But you wouldn't even put it past Celtic next Saturday. You wouldn't.
No, definitely not. Nothing's a given.
Absolutely unthinkable. But that's our easiest game. Hearts, again, I said Motherwell's form's dropped off. Motherwell are more than capable of going to Tynecastle and getting a result. And then Falkirk are playing great stuff at the minute. So you don't know. Our job next Saturday is to put the pressure on Rangers for the Sunday, and then after that, you're into the last five. What I think, Phil, is going to be...
Sorry to cut in. I ain't seen the guys take over St Mirren. He's not lost a game yet. I think he's got 100%.
They've just got a wee bit of form, yeah.
St Mirren have already beat us in a League Cup final season. Okay, yes, it was under Nancy, but they now play us in the next two games and have the potential to derail our entire season in the league and in the Scottish Cup. Like, they now hold the key. So no game is easy. St Mirren will make it tough. They're always a stodgy team. We struggled against them in the opening day of the season at Celtic Park and beat them 1-0 with a 88th minute winner. If they look back out, they'll make it hard next week.
Phil, I think when the split comes, and let's hope we get the 3 points and we're right in the mix then when the split comes, I think the positioning of certain games is going to be really, really important. And if you remember the day that Martin O'Neill lost the league title
on Sunday,
I think I think they'll put Rangers and Hibs as the last match of the season,
and we'll play Motherwell.
They'll put Rangers and Hibs as the last game, knowing that if Hibs beating Rangers gives Hearts the league, that every single Hibs fan is gonna want Rangers to beat Hibs that day. Now, I'm not saying for 1 second that the players would throw the game or anything like that. That's not the case. And like I say, there could be a scenario here where Celtic potentially beat Hearts to hand Rangers the league, and if that game comes round, you have, for the integrity of the game, you have to, as a fan, you have to want your team to win the match. And I just think Rangers and Hibs, last game of the season, and a Hibs win would hand Hearts the title.
Yeah, it's just,
no matter what way they split it, and it's not going to be easy for the guys that do the fixtures, and no matter what way they do it, somebody's going to be unhappy about how it plays out.
Well,
I think they have to. I think they will. They'll try and avoid the Celtic Hearts, Rangers Hearts, Celtic.
On the
Rangers.
Last day of the season, is a certainty that Celtic will not be playing Hearts or Rangers. Hearts will not be playing Rangers or Celtic, and Rangers won't be playing Celtic or Hearts. They'll avoid that at all costs. Hearts also won't be playing the Edinburgh Derby on the last day of the season. I think the first two rounds of fixtures after the split, they'll get the Edinburgh Derby out the way, the Glasgow Derby out the way, and Celtic's game with Hearts and Rangers game with Hearts. I think they'll get them out the way in the first two games, and then it'll come down to your games against Hibs, Falkirk, and Motherwell. And yeah, I would be surprised if you're saying, obviously, if Rangers have Hibs in the last day and we end up with Motherwell, just to give more parallels to Helicopter Sunday. But I think we would have to. I think we've got Motherwell away, but Falkirk is a home game. So I think if we've got 3 home games, I think we're going to end the season on a home game, though. But I don't know. I've said before, you Terry, I don't envy the person at the SPFL that has to draw up this fixture list. Well, obviously, it's a supercomputer that does it, but even at that, I don't envy the computer neither.
I don't think the computer will be doing them at all. I think they'll be handpicked. The police will be involved. Sky will be involved. Everybody involved. There'll be no computer. It'll definitely not be a computer pulling them out. But anyway, Phil, we've got the job done today. Wasn't pretty, but we're there. Another week, and then home to St Mirren. You'll be at that one. Yeah,
we'll be the semi-final. That one as well the week later. So St Mirren have got the potential here to destroy everything, or we could continue on this path if we can get over these 2 sticky games as it Mirren, because every game is just going to be a slog. You never know, maybe we'll save it to the last day of the season. We'll just go out and beat somebody like 5-0 on the final day. But for the time being, it's going to be just flying by the seat of our pants to make it work in every single fixture. Just need to batten down the hatches and find a way in every game, Terry.
We're still there. We're still there fighting,
Oh,
Phil.
yeah.
We've still got a chance for a period today. It didn't feel that we were still going to be hanging in there, but we are. So that'll do us for today, Phil. Thank you to everyone who joined us. Enjoy your week, and hopefully Celtic can get the job done for us next Saturday afternoon, and I'll be on after the game for a chat as well. But thank you very much.
No worries, guys. See you after. Cheers.